Hey, Tony Gasser here. Now, I've seen a lot about the Deion Sanders and Karrueche Tran thing, and I briefly touched on that before, but not in title. And I want to, not about them, but just in real life, like non-celebrity life. I'm gonna tell y'all, like, because it's a lot of ladies that I have coached, and they say, Tony, what do you think about me in my 30s being with a man in his 50s? And it's becoming more of a thing, and it's really happening out of frustration from women not being able to find mature men in their 30s, and being treated like crap, being cheated on or beat on, or asked a bunch of foolishness, asked to do threesomes and foursomes and all the different type of stuff by men that's their same age. And one thing I can say from a male perspective is anything is possible. I just don't see those type of relationships where, and not talking about Deion and Karrueche. I know them both. I have talked to both of them before. I can't remember if I've met them in person before. But so it's not really, it's not a personal attack. I'm using this as an example for real life. And I know as a man myself, when I get into my 50s, if I were to date a woman in her 30s, to me it would be like fun. It would be like for fun. It would be for the experience, for the clout, for the bragging rights, for like midlife crisis medicine, for, I don't know, just the mindset. There's this mindset of younger and tighter, like skin being tighter and stuff like that, that I don't know if there's any truth to that, because I've been with one woman for the last 20 years, so I really don't know like what a woman's body look like outside of her clothes in her 50s versus in her 30s. I could imagine there being some truth to it. I don't know for sure. I know there are exceptions to the rule on both sides. There's probably some women in their 30s who body look like in their 50s, and there's probably women in their 50s who body look like in their 30s. But if you are dating and you are a woman in your 20s and your 30s, I do not recommend, without expressed approved consent of a professional who is living the life and has the type of life and marriage that you desire to have, I do not, or a family member like that, I do not recommend doing it. It's too risky. You taking too many chances. Like, how do you even have an identity and a mind and a thought process when you 15, 20 years younger than somebody? Like, there's no possible way that they're gonna take anything you say seriously. Like, you literally are a child. Like, you the age of their children. Their oldest child, you might be younger than their oldest child when you dealing with somebody that's 20 years older than you, 15, 20 years older than you, because there's a lot of people that have kids, 18 years old, 20 years old. And so the one issue, and I've said this before on the other video, when you date somebody more than 10 years older than you, you run the risk of them trying to raise you, them trying to re-raise you, because the age gap is so great. And when you older, you run the risk of the younger person realizing that you're not that much different than people their age, that you're not that much more mature. You run the risk of them being sexually unpleased. You run the risk of them getting bored. You run the risk of them running into the unattractiveness of complications with age. and just they stomach being turned. And their stomach is turned and they feeling a certain way because of being in that situation, and they feeling a way, and they like, okay, you know, what is going on here? Because, you know, what are we gonna do with this catheter? You got this catheter in, so can't get me none. And you know, you having gallbladder issues, and you having appendix issues, and you know, you start to go through different things as you get older. You having menopause and hot flashes. It's you trying to go to sleep and you can't sleep because somebody got to sleep with an AC on 60 because they getting hot. They having hot flashes. It's a lot going on. It's like somebody want to listen to the Temptations and somebody want to listen to Summer Walker, and now y'all fighting over the radio because these young mumble rappers that got a good melody, got a good tune that you like in your 20s and 30s, the person that, you know, 15, 20 years older than you, they think it's foolishness. So y'all arguing about that. Then y'all arguing about who generation is the best. Then y'all arguing about the differences of the generations. Then you arguing about who the smartest, who the this, who the that. And you just sitting there just arguing back and forth. And just, it's like you can't make it work. You can't figure it out. And it's just maturity levels, different opinions. And one of the things too that I notice with younger people who date, you know, more than 10 years older, is a lot of times it's seeking emotional security and financial security. Because somebody's not gonna put up with somebody that's older and broke and not where they need to be at financially. So a lot of times the older person gets taken advantage of for their financial security. Whether they making a lot of money, or they got a 401k, or they got a good retirement check coming in, or they got a big savings, or they got an 800 credit score, or they got a nice 3-4 bedroom house, they got a nice Range Rover or Benz or another car, they got room for other cars, they got credit for other cars, they got money and credit and things for, whether it may be like, it may be a situation where they got money and things for, what would we call it? Business investments. So it's like the younger man or woman could be wanting to start this company, and then the older person, they like, listen, I'm closer to the grave than I am to the birth canal. Let me invest in my young whippersnapper to show him or her that I believe in them. And that younger person came solely to get some money, to get that $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 investment. And if somebody has a fear of dying alone, they're gonna invest that money to keep their partner. They're gonna invest that money to have their partner, to have their person, because they looking at it like, man, hey, I got to show them that I love them. I got to show them that I'm invested. And so, although we see this with Deion Sanders and Karrueche Tran, they are celebrities. You know, their life is different. Don't let that give you the approval. They could be an exception to the rule. She could be extremely mature. Deion, you know, could really relate to her. You never know what could be going on right there. Me personally, just on the outside looking in, I never, off the rip, I never liked those type of situations. But I do know there's exception to the rule. So if I get in and I heard the conversation and seen why they doing this right there, how this happened, then that's a little different. But then, you know, with their situation, it's also a little more awkward because they saying that Karrueche used to work for Tracy Edmonds. Tracy Edmonds was the producer on the show that Karrueche was on. So then it's like, was Dion watching the show? Did he go to set? And that right there, just however that happened, I feel terrible for Tracy. I feel terrible for Tracy Edmonds. And also just because it's so many women in the world. And it's nothing that's like that super duper so special about one person over 1,000 other people. Like, just out of respect, if you truly broke up amicably and it was just a difference of opinion, just irreconcilable differences, you kind of should move around, like date somebody else. It's just so many people. So on their situation specifically, that right there caused a little bit of issue. And that's unfortunate for Tracy Edmonds. It's like, you know, I mean, I don't know her personally, never met her. Don't think she followed me online or nothing like that. So, I mean, I don't know what type of person she is, if she is a good person or not. But never heard anything negative about her. So you hate to see that, because you know the human heart and how the human heart is. You just, it just hurt. It just would hurt to be a woman in your 50s and you give a decade plus of your life to a man and it don't work out, and then he go and he get a woman that's like, I don't know, how 15, 20 years younger, and then you feel like this deep sinking feeling of inadequacy, like, man, I'm not enough. Like, man, that's what he probably wanted all along, because why would you just go and get that after we break up? Like, probably what he was lusting after, and probably why we couldn't hit it off, probably why he didn't love me or didn't want me, or why we broke up. And then, you know, so for me being an empath and just having coming to that place in my life to where I start to consider those things and weigh those things, and I also get to hear it from women all the time in coaching, just how that sinking feeling of feeling inadequate and not enough, and like no matter what they do, never enough for their man. You know, that's a sad part of it for women who that's happening to, because and although Deion Sanders and Karrueche Tran are the example, I've used the celebrity examples for real life. That's a microcosm of real life, because it's happening every day. And so it's a lot of women that I have coached who their man left them for a younger woman, or left them and now is with younger women and only date younger women. So I don't understand it right now, because I'm 41. Maybe I will understand it when I'm 55. And if I start to like have feelings or lust for women in their 30s and like really thinking about making that move, then I'll be able to sit and say, oh, okay, this is what it is. This is what those feelings that those older men feel and why they was doing that. Because, you know, Shannon Sharp just did it, who was Deion Sanders' friend, and end up, you know, costing him millions, because it was a different situation. He wasn't with a, you know, classy, respectable woman. But you see how that happened, how that turned out. But the fact that he even desired that is just an interesting thing. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around why some men are not desiring or being with women of their same age. Maybe I don't make enough money to have that desire or problem or something. Or maybe I'm just not old enough. Like, I get it. I see women in their 20s and they pretty, but I don't want to be with them, because I just see it like a child. Like, even though they grown women, I just look at it like I'm gonna have to get some baby food and just open wide. Ooh, brrr, here comes the plane. But that 25-year-old, I feel like that now. About really for a 30-year-old, I'm 41, but it just feels so young, so I can't really wrap my head around it yet. I really don't understand it. Like, being with a woman that's like 15 years younger, 20 years younger, and be like, gotta sing them bedtime. Rock-a-bye baby in the treetop, and when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. It just, I know I'm being facetious, like, because these are grown women. So the grown women who dating the men 20 years older is like, oh, you trying me? I'm more mature than you. Okay, all right, calm down right now. Okay, Miss Mature, Mr. Mature. But, and then also 41, the only way I would be with a woman, if I were a single man, the only way I would be with a woman who is like 10 years older or more is if she a millionaire and I have business ideas. It don't matter how pretty she is. I believe men will sleep with women 10 years older or more because she pretty or she fit, sexy, whatever term you use. But to actually be with her, I just also can't see that being genuine. For women, it's different. For women, it's different. But men being with an older woman, as you see, these men are choosing younger women. So for men, it's totally different. Everybody bring up this French macaron guy who was with this really older woman. It's like, listen, that's an exception to the rule. Like, don't hang your hat on that. If you are an older woman and you keep getting hit on by these guys that's 10 years younger or more, don't flatter yourself. Don't get played like a fool. Like 9 out of 10 times, it is not real. It is not authentic. It's not genuine. This guy has a fetish. He has a fantasy. He wants to sleep with an older woman, or he wants you for financial stability. And if he is financially stable, he completely emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually healthy, it is an exception to the rule. And the exception to the rule is like 1 out of 1,000. So don't get caught up in that and become a notch on a young man's belt and let him knock you off because that was his fantasy and you thought it was real. Like, just use common sense, move around, wait till a man is in your age range, you know, within 10 years, hopefully within 5 years, and go that route. Like, don't get desperate. Don't get desperate. So, you know, and again, I just use them as an example, not talking directly, specifically about them. But I have to address the things that people bring to me and mention it over and over. But it's no personal attack or nothing like that. Wishing them the best. If they are dating, they say neither one of them have confirmed, so could just be best friends. Sometimes you get to an age where conversation may turn you on more than sex. So it could be that situation. They could be best friends. They could be like father and daughter. She could have went to him for advice, and she his daughter age practically. So she could have went to him for advice, and he just started advising like a father figure, and now she just kept about him like that. Who knows? Or they can end up being together. You know, now they end up being together and come out and say they're together and get married or something like that. But sometimes too, man, people have time to waste sometimes. Sometimes you just want to experience somebody. Sometimes you want to experience somebody's company. You want to experience their aura, their demeanor, their conversation. And that season is like a lifetime. Sometimes it ain't about going all the way and getting married and all of that. Sometimes people just want to experience each other's mind, explore each other heart and soul, and then they get they feel and then they move on. So I think a lot of these age gap relationships is like exploration. It's like a science project. It's like, let me see, let me knock on this door and see what's behind this door. And it ain't even about something like that's real. It ain't even about something that's like, oh, I'm super in love and I just always had this dream of being with somebody that's 10 plus years age gap. And sometimes it's not even that serious. It's just they met, they started talking, conversation was good, stimulating, did this for one person, did that for the other person, and boom, just kept it going from there. But for you personally, not talking about Dion and Carucci, that's them, that's their life. They got a different life, different tax bracket, different fame level. But for you personally, be very, very careful with relationships with a 10 plus year age gap. Be very careful. Reach out to me. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's look and see if y'all are an exception to the rule. And if y'all are not, I'm going to tell you how and why y'all are not. And I'm going to tell you what I think about it. And then you being a grown person, you do what you want to do. God bless you. Keep your head up. Scratch your booty. Get glad. But hey, all the important links in the description. God bless you. We'll talk soon.